G'day ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a panel expert discussion around marketing management, looking specifically at the topic of managing your product. I'm joined today in the studio with Steve Pemberton. Steve, if you wouldn't mind giving a brief introduction.
Hi, I'm Steve Pemberton. My company's called Look Consulting. My background is in sales and marketing. The first 22 years of that were in the business-to-business chemical services market. In the last 10 years I've been involved with more in the retail sector with managing and delivering a brand, mainly through its packaging.
Fantastic. So we have a situation here where we've got a case study around Lego, one of the top 6 brands in the world, one of the best toys that have been voted Toy of the Century. Really a lot going on in this case study. And if I had to pose the question to you, what are some of your initial thoughts? Just looking at the case study from a marketing management perspective, looking specifically at the importance of a product when looking at a brand, what are some of your thoughts?
The straight answer to your question is I don't know, Trevor, because there's that much going on in this case study. To try and take it all apart and reassemble it into nice boxes that enable you to make objective decisions is extraordinarily difficult. You've got a market that's got new expectations, the advent of computer games, different aspirations. You've got the decisions to go from Lego when I was a child was something that you basically did your own designs. Lego moved towards these kits which you made as a one-off, very complex kits. And then you got these, latterly, these film endorsements with the Star Wars and the Harry Potter type of thing. And the decision to drop the Duplo range. And trying to unravel all of that and say which bit of it has had which effect on which customer and what the overall effect of that is in the mix of things is extraordinarily complex. And in this one, I think the marketing department would have earned their money pondering many, many hours, unravelling it all and trying to make sense of the numbers, the direction and how to react and what to do as a strategy or a tactic in light of the changing circumstances in their markets and the demographics.
So I think, as you've rightfully said, we're in a situation here where for over 70 years, this incredible brand was built on the back of something which started off to be fairly simple. And over the years, when you look at the toy industry, it's become something that is incredibly competitive, very fast-paced in terms of how it changes and develops. And I think indicative of a lot of organizations as we move further into the 20th century. A lot of change, a lot of new competition, a lot of globalization. So I think, like you've rightfully said, there's not going to be any one solution here because this is...
Certainly not.
Certainly not indeed. This is a really complex, intertwined scenario where there are so many little keys that need to be considered. And I think, as you said, the marketing department would certainly have earned their stripes here. Having said that, though, for our students' perspectives, let's try unpack this a bit in terms of some of the key questions that, if once again we were in the marketing department of Lego, what should we have been considering? And I think the first thing which jumps out at me is this: the question which really a lot of people ask themselves is, when a customer buys something, are they really buying the product or are they in fact buying your brand? What are your thoughts on that?
I think once you've established your brand, then people tend to subscribe to the brand above the product until the point that they get let down in some way by the product. And then, of course, all of that is unravelled and the brand is devalued to the point where it can be fatally injured because of poor product quality. So the two things are inexorably linked. Once you've established the brand, people will continue to buy into the brand if you give them what they want in terms of that quality-value equation and the consistency in the brand.
So when we're looking at the decision between product and brand, what I'm hearing is that once you've established a brand, it becomes a lot easier for your products to sell. However, there needs to be that brand consistency, creating confidence in the consumer's mind, in the way they see your products, and you can definitely leverage off on that. The question is, which I think you've answered in part, at what point will the brand not be able to actually sustain the product any longer?
I think when people subscribe to the brand initially, what they've done is they've bought into a feeling that they're getting back more than their expectations in terms of that quality value. They're getting something additional, and that there's some other benefits from buying this brand. And the point that they will stop that is when the product fails to deliver those quality value expectations to them, and they feel cheated. And that devalues the brand. And once damaged as a brand, it takes a lot to re-establish that trust from the customer that you have their interests in heart and you're going to produce a product that exceeds any expectation that they had.
Okay, well, that's wonderful. Now, thinking around what you've just said, I'm going to link that back to our solutions, and we're going to start to walk through the solutions. In terms of looking at what Lego's strategy should be going forward, in this changing market with a whole array of different complexities, one of the suggestions or suggested solutions was that they should actually return to their core. Start doing again what they were doing best in terms of the product that they had initially. What are your thoughts around that solution?
Well, I think in business there is seldom just one right answer. And I think that what we will eventually come to is that they should be doing a number of things simultaneously, rather than just doing one thing and dropping all of the solutions. So in terms of returning to their roots, then I actually think that that's probably at the foundation of regaining the brand's strength, but with conditions, and they have to modernise how they return to that core of having a product which is fundamentally built around design and creativity within the child and their manipulative skills and their engineering skills. And there are lots of new avenues that they could consider using. There's the whole internet thing, which has come to life in the last 10, 15 years, that you could perhaps put web portals up where people share their designs, share their instructions, and almost get it to be a cool thing for young age groups to subscribe to this website, to be publishing designs to them, to have forums when they can exchange views on design and building products in Lego, and get back to that core of building your own Lego models and your own Lego products.
So what I'm hearing is it's not just going back to an old, stale product. It's going back to a core, but really looking at new ways of actually engaging this design, this creativity amongst its markets, which I think is a really great idea. I think if we move to option B, this is looking more at leveraging off partnerships. So other reputable brands, like they did with the Star Wars movie series and the Harry Potter movie series. Would that be a viable solution for Lego in this scenario?
I think in isolation of doing other things, it's a very dangerous strategy to follow, which is why I said I think you need to be doing a mix of activities. Certainly that can prompt sales, but it's very transient while that movie's out, while that movie's the one that people want to identify with and see, then that will sustain and grow sales, but only for a short period, because it will become unfashionable, something else will come along. So that's going to be quite a hungry beast. You've got to keep feeding that with new product technology, new products, to keep that churn going, because each movie will have a finite period. And the danger is that you back something that isn't a winner. So you put all the energy and the cash in up front to buy the license, to create the products, to produce, pack, ship, merchandise the products. And then the movie's not seen to be hip or is commercially unsuccessful, and you're left with a lot of unsold stock and a lot of cost. So there's a danger in that one. I think you would do some of it. You would do it with caution and be careful to only back winners. And if we all knew how to do that, it would be a happier world.
So thank you for that. I think, like you say, backing winners is definitely an art, not something that we all get right the whole time. Moving to option C, looking at going a whole new direction, a whole new brand, whole new concept around the product. Would this be something that would be viable and that would indeed pave a way for a new future? What are your thoughts on that?
I can't see any merit in exploring that solution whatsoever. At the core of the brand, they've got a product. They've got a good product which is known, it's established, it's trusted. To throw all that away and try and move in a substantially new direction with all the barriers that would be to re-establish the brand name in a new sector within toys or whatever, I think is just a challenge far too far away from their core for any organisation to reorientate themselves so suddenly. And to be able to do that, I think, is beyond them. And I would highly question the value of even exploring that.
So we've got a scenario here where, again, we come back to the situation. In business, practically no one right solution. But for our users out there that are looking at the case study, they've ticked a box somewhere, what would your recommendation be in this environment regarding the Lego case study if I had to put you on the spot? What should Lego be thinking in terms of their strategy going forward around their product and around their brand?
I would say I would be doing a mix of A and B. I would be focusing perhaps more energy on A, trying to develop new scenarios, new ways of marketing and merchandising those products to young audiences. The other thing that I did want to mention was the decision to drop the Duplo brand, which I personally think was a disaster, because Duplo was a great way of winning your customers young, who then had, from my own experience with my two sons, aspirations to move on through the product chain. So the younger brother wanted to be like the bigger brother and aspired to be able to play with Lego when he was younger. They were captured young, there was market development there. So I would go back to my core. I would start looking at my customer acquisitions at a young age, start seeing how I could develop them, how I could engage them better, perhaps through sharing plans and designs on the internet, but simultaneously using the licensed products to boost sales and to mount campaigns, but not losing sight of what my business was truly about, which really should go back, in my view, to being about design and engineering.
So what I'm hearing is we re-embracing from a strategic perspective the fundamentals, core fundamentals around that design, the creativity, possibly bringing in new ways of doing that. And then as a tactic, looking at things like co-branding with short-term wins such as the Star Warses, the Harry Potters, things like that, which could provide short-term wins, but that's far more tactic than it is a long-term strategy. So a leaning towards option A with some of option B is what I'm hearing. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. For myself, Trevor Hartley and Steve Pemberton, thank you for joining us.